Welcome to Titan HST's Business Continuity Today, hosted by Todd DeVoe, putting your business first.
So any intelligent fool can make things bigger and more complex. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. Albert Einstein. Love that quote. Welcome to Titan HST's Business Continuity Today, and this is your host, Todd DeVoe speaking. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into systems thinking and what Derek Cabrera has done with creating the Dsrp, and I'll explain to you exactly what that means. So Derek Cabrera created a simple set of rules, and the underlying all forms of the systems thinking, and he named it Dsrp. And it means, sorry, I'm all tongue-tied right now. So we're making distinctions, we're recognizing systems, relationships, and perspectives. So applying each rule to any problem enables you to explore the yet unmade distinctions and systems and relationships and perspectives that haven't been taken. So in the context of what we're doing here with business continuity and emergency planning specifically, is how do each of these individual systems or aspects of it relate into one system? So just because we're creating something that's complex does not mean it has to be complicated. Right. So thinking through distinction systems, perspectives, and relationships provides a universal language when communicating these mental models that we're creating. And this is necessary for any scale organization, whether you're from a startup, right, to a large scale IBM or Google. So in order to explain these four DSRP patterns, we'll look at them individually. And so DSRP, they are the building blocks of the mental models, and they are going to be the building blocks, or should be the building blocks, of what you use when you create your plan. So these are the four simple rules of systems thinking, right? So we're going to understand content master the content, right? Deep understanding of what's going on, and these are going to be your higher skills and so forth. And you need to do lifelong learning, right? And then this way, lifelong of the plan, that is, right? And then also different types of skills and IQ or EQ aspects of skills. So with distinctions, right? Systems thinker make distinctions between and among things and ideas types, right? So what I like to do is I whiteboard my things out. And I love using the whiteboard. You can use mental models in other different ways. You have virtual mental models. You can write things on paper or whatnot. But what you're doing is you're breaking up your distinctions, right? And of what these different aspects are. And then what this creates into is your systems or the whole parts. So systems thinker organize things and ideas into part or whole parts of the systems to make meaning. A systems thinker knows that the change in the ways ideas are organized and the changing of the ideas of themselves, right? And this creates the relationships. So each system creates a relationship to itself, right? So if you think about the relational aspect of what you're doing, so like I talked about before, the idea that when you make a decision based upon for your business, you need to open up your business continuity plan. You need to open up your emergency operations plans and say, are my ideas and decisions in concert with what we've already decided? And that brings you to perspectives or viewpoints. So as you're looking at your complete system, right, whatever your business is, right, is that systems thinker look at ideas from different perspectives, okay, and different viewpoints. All right. So when you're making your decision based upon one thing and you check in what the other two sections, if they're all making sure they're in concert, right, to make sure that system is together. And so how does this relate to business continuity? So one of the many issues that are facing emergency managers and risk managers today is the underlying assumption that risk analysis is the cause and effects are connected in a linear way. That each disaster or emergency stands on its own and they're not connected. And I'm going to say, and I'm going to venture out and argue that no, each disaster that we have, right, is interconnected. What I mean by this is that, not saying that a hurricane and an earthquake are interconnected, but the outcomes of those are. So when we have a hurricane bearing down on us, okay, say if you're in the Florida, right, which is going on, the decisions that you make based upon the hurricane coming in, okay, are going to be based upon the systems that you have in your office. So can you still continually do your work even though we are closing down the shops that you have in Florida? That's what I'm talking about, how they're interrelated. A disaster by itself, or an emergency or a hazard by itself, right, it may not be a disaster necessarily unless it completely impacts what you're doing. And that's really the distinction between the disasters. In disasters, many risks are the results of multiple interacting and risks arising. So, for example, from the environment, if we have, say, a sea rise, right, and you're on the coast, the disaster itself is not necessarily the sea rise, but it could be the decision of where you put that building. That's what we're talking about, the interrelation of these things. So modeling these independent risks is often or is maybe impossible as you think about it, but it's not, right? So you take those risks and you model them out, and that helps me make your decisions. And if you think of everything as far as risk assessment into a system, right, and use systems thinking, it's going to be easier for you to make the decisions down the road to make your business and or organization run more effectively and safely. So using systems thinking and mind mapping will help you outline the complex issues that you face. And, without a map or GPS these days, it's almost impossible for a person to navigate across the Pacific Ocean. And it's the same with complex problems. Systems thinking and mind mapping are the tools to help you navigate those hairball, crazy problems that you face each day. So, thank you for being with us today. And visit Titan HST for all your communication needs. And remember, follow us on your favorite podcast player, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and join us next week. And until then, stay safe and stay hydrated.